If you've done any research at all regarding the BMW E46, then no doubt you've read about the problems surrounding cracking of the chassis at the rear subframe mounting points. Sounds pretty scary, right? The work, the cost, and the time. How do you know if your E46 is at risk? And is the problem really as bad as what's reported? In this episode of 5 Minute Fridays, I'm going to give my analysis on the cracking problem around the rear subframe and provide you with some alternatives to consider when addressing this problem. Dunk. G'day everyone, Michael Taylor from 64 Motorsport and welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Fridays. In this episode we're going to take a look at the rear subframe and the problem of cracking of the chassis at the subframe mounting locations. It's a well reported problem, but is it fair income? Yes it is. So much so that even BMW have made an attempt to address this problem. But is this a typical problem for every E46? And the answer to that question is no. Not all E46 chassis are going to suffer from cracking. And there are several reasons why some crack and others don't. Some of the problems are environmental issues. If you live and drive in a climate which is prone to rust or corrosion, then there's going to be more corrosion prevalent underneath your car, which is going to make your chassis probably more susceptible to the cracking issue. If you're going to do some track days or drifting, you're going to place extra stress and load on that rear subframe and where it mounts to the chassis. And that is going to increase the chances of cracking as well. But what if you're just an everyday driver, dropping the kids off at school, to and from work, and then on the weekends, a bit of cruising throughout the countryside or on the highways? In that case, probably less prone to cracking, but it's still worthwhile doing a proper inspection to determine the condition of the chassis around that location. Now the downside of this is you're going to have to pull out the whole rear subframe so that you can have a look at the chassis underneath where it mounts. So it's not a simple exercise, but if you're at all concerned, then that's what you're going to have to do. So yes, it is a real problem, but be assured that not everybody is going to suffer from this problem. If you're going to be doing track days or are a very aggressive driver, then you probably want to look at additional reinforcement. There are several companies, quite a few really, that make a subframe reinforcement kit. I've opted for the T.M.S reinforcement kit, and the reason why I'm installing the kit is because my plans for my build involve regular track days and a few hill climb racing events. So I'm going to be placing extra load on the chassis around the subframe mounting points. Even though I have no cracking at this point, I want to prevent the possibility of cracking in the future. So what do you get in your subframe reinforcement kit? In my instance, from T.M.S, I get metal plates which are designed to be welded over the top of the chassis to strengthen and reinforce those locations. Roughly about a 2, maybe 3mm thickness plate, and these have been modified over the years by T.M.S to ensure a more precise and accurate fitment. I opted for the T.M.S one, firstly because they're a reputable company and they've done a lot of work on BMWs of all sorts of different models. They've got the knowledge, they've got the know-how, and they're a reputable company in order to provide backup support. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4 metal plates which have to be welded in. We get an additional couple of plates for welding together the sheet metal inside the boot above the subframe mounting points, and then a couple of little spacers which need to sit above the support bracket for the subframe. Also get a couple of bolts to help secure a couple of the brackets in place while you're welding it up to ensure an exact fitment. Finally, some well detailed instructions. The cost of the kit is roughly a couple of $100 US, and then it's a matter of time and labour to fit those up. So it's not a cheap exercise if you're going to pay somebody to do it, because you've got a fair bit of labour in terms of removing the subframe, preparing the area prior to welding, to have it welded up, repainted or primed, and then reinstall the rear subframe. Depending where you take it, having one of these kits installed could cost you several thousands of dollars. It's not a cheap exercise. That being said, what if you're just an everyday driver and you're not going to subject your subframe to those extra stresses and forces which may lead to cracking? The best solution is maintenance. And by that I mean a regular inspection of the subframe bushes and diff bushes and the bushes around the rear suspension. By keeping those in good condition and making sure that you don't have any extra play, it's not going to subject the subframe to excess movement, which may lead to cracking in the chassis. There are kits like this one from ECS Tuning, which is similar to the BMW fix, and that's a spray foam which is sprayed into the cavity to firm up the sheet metal around the subframe mounting locations. By taking care of proper maintenance and using this cheaper fix of the spray foam, you can minimise drastically the risk of any cracking in the chassis. Depending how you're going to be using your car, there's a couple of different fixes to prevent the cracking. How about you drop me a comment below with your thoughts on this problem with the E46 chassis? Have you installed a reinforcement kit? Have you installed the spray foam? Do you believe that by maintaining the condition of the bushes in the subframe that you can help to minimise the risk of cracking? Drop me a comment below. It would be really handy to share your feedback with our other viewers. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, because when you do that, it really helps out my channel. If you'd like to see more content on BMW E46 maintenance, performance upgrades, and to follow the build of my supercharged E46 325 Ci, consider subscribing, but don't forget to ring the bell, because that way you'll get a notification every time I upload a new video. I've really enjoyed your company today. Thank you so much for watching. But until we meet again, perhaps on another episode of 5 Minute Fridays, look after yourselves, stay safe, and TTFN. Oh, this new shirt's itchy. Oh, drive me nuts.